Chosen one, I need you to hear what I am about to say with everything inside of you, not casually, not while scrolling, not while half of your mind is somewhere else. Because what is about to come through this message is not information. It doesn't give you hope. It's not a reason. There is no doubt that this is a direct, serious present tense command from God. He has never been more serious in your whole life. God recently told you something, but it wasn't in a voice or a sermon. It was through a feeling that pressed against your chest like someone was putting their hand on your heart. You still haven't done what He told you to do. Not because you didn't believe it, but because you felt like telling someone as soon as you got it. There was something in you that wanted to tell them. Someone or something inside you wanted to speak out loud about something that God told you to keep quiet. The single most dangerous thing going on in your life right now is the urge to speak before the time is right. Not your enemies, not your situation, and not the weight, your mouth. Think about the last time God gave you something important, and you wanted to call someone right away. This message is about that moment. In that exact way. You need to shut up right now, because God is telling you this more seriously than He ever has before. Do not tell the world what you have been given privately, if they are not ready to protect it. If this sounds like you and those words hit you hard, type, "I hear the call," in the comments right now. This message wasn't made up for no reason. You were brought here for a reason that will become clear in a moment. There is also a story I will tell you before the end of the message that will change the way you think about holding what God gives you. It's been 13 years and the most expensive news a man has ever given. Make room for it. There is something important I want you to know about this season. God has been keeping an eye on you, and not just from afar. He has been watching you like a parent watches his kid carry something fragile across a room with lots of sharp corners. He has kept track of every step you've taken. He has thought about every word you have said. And what He has seen over the last few months has made Him do something that people don't usually do. He has leaned forward. His eyes have become narrow. And He made a decision about your season. But read this first. What the judge says is not a reward. It's not a punishment that the verdict is. The verdict is a set of instructions that are so exact, so specific, and so right for you at this exact moment in your spiritual growth, that if you follow them, everything that has been stuck starts to move. And breaking them will make something that was supposed to come in weeks take years to arrive. That's how heavy what we're talking about is. Why did I say that God has never been more serious? Because what He is telling you now is not just a suggestion. It's an order. Also, this is the order. Close your mouth and hold on to what He gives you. Don't let go of it until He tells you to. Now I'll explain why. Allow me to explain what takes place in the spiritual world when a chosen one speaks too soon. Not because we want to keep something secret. This isn't about being scared. You need to understand a system that has been working without your knowledge for years, slowly destroying the things that God has been putting together in your life. There is something you have lived with for a long time and no longer question. They give you a beautiful gift, like a promise, a vision, an open door, or confirmation. And that thing starts to lose its power within hours, sometimes minutes. And it wasn't because the promise was false, or the door was locked. It was because something took the power away from it between when you got it, and when you tried to walk through it. You've put the blame on yourself. You've told yourself that you can't finish things because you're not disciplined, and can't follow through. That's not true though. It's never been true. What's really going on is what I call the announcement drain. The announcement drain is a spiritual and neurological effect that happens when you speak out loud about a divine instruction, a sacred promise, or a vision from God before your mind has fully formed the structures it needs. This is what takes place. As soon as God gives you something, it starts to grow inside you in a quiet way, like a foundation being poured in the dark. It gets stronger, its roots go deeper, and its ability to handle what's coming grows with every hour of silence. But when you say it out loud, post it, hint at it, or even just slightly imply that something is happening, the energy that was meant to finish the internal structure is sent outward instead. That which is inside you leaves through your words, leaving behind only a shell that sounds nice but has no support. You emptied it before it was ready to stand on its own, not because God took it away. That's why it died. The worst part is that the people you told can't see what happened. They heard what you said. They saw it not happen, and now their doubt is like a quiet verdict in their mind. When God gives you something again, their doubt will be the first thing it has to deal with. You're not following the rules. You're not flaky. You're not someone who can't get things done. For years, you've been working under the announcement drain, sending holy things into places that aren't ready for them, and wondering why the power keeps fading. You now know that the pattern isn't valid when you see it. You can see it now. This is not the only thing that's going on. There is something more profound going on, and it has to do with how God plans times of silence just for the chosen one. If what was said made you feel something change, if it hit you hard, type "silence is power" in the comments below. Not as performance, but as praise. Because what you just felt is the start of a change in you that God has been waiting to make. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission grows into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. But more than your support, we want your presence. When you head to our community through the link in the description or the pinned comment, you aren't just visiting a site. You are entering a community of like-minded believers. This is a sanctuary where you can post your prayer requests, lift up the burdens of others, and engage in daily discussions with a family that speaks the language of faith. Whether you are joining one of our membership tiers for deeper study, sowing a seed of faith, or simply joining our daily morning prayers, you are helping us build a global altar of worship. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through a community that stands together. Each gift you give acts as living water for those in our community seeking healing and hope. Give, and it will be given to you, is the promise that sustains our shared mission. I invite you now to step out of the shadows and into this circle of prayer. Come with purpose, join the conversation, and plant your seed in fertile ground. Let's open the heavens together. Release your seed today, join our community, and see what God brings back into your life. I want to tell you about something God does that not many people teach. This will help you understand a part of your life that has confused, irritated, and made you wonder if God was even paying attention. Those who have been chosen will go through times when nothing is going on. Not any more confirmations. The doors won't open. The momentum that was building up all of a sudden stops. And during those times of the year, people naturally get scared. You begin to pray more. You begin to look for signs. You start to think about what went wrong. But what if the silence wasn't a punishment? What if the silence was just a build-up? This is one of the most misunderstood parts of being chosen for something amazing. I call it the containment protocol. In the containment protocol, God lowers the outside signals in your life on purpose during a certain time. He is building something inside you that can only be built when there is no noise. Not because He has forgotten about you. Take a look at it this way. When the ground is shaking, you can't pour a foundation. There must be no movement on the ground. Quit making that noise. The distractions need to be taken away. After that, the real work can start. In the Bible, every important person went through a containment protocol. Moses lived in the desert for 40 years, without hearing from the prophets. Joseph was locked up and had no idea why he was there. The person who stole David's throne slept in a palace while David hid in caves. And in every case, the silence wasn't because God wasn't there. In the middle of all the noise, God was doing something so fundamental, deep, and necessary that it could not have happened otherwise. You've been in your own process of containment. Some of you for years, some for months. The thing that's been bothering you is that you keep telling yourself, maybe God forgot about me. It's possible that I was wrong about the calling. I could have made the whole thing up. But you didn't make it up. There is a real calling. The promise is real. The silence shows that the promise is so big, important, and different from what you've been through before that God needed more time to get it ready. Also, you are the box. This is the most important part. The containment protocol has a time limit. It goes away after a while. There will come a time when the building is finished and the inside is strong enough to hold what God has been planning behind the scenes. The silence will end when that time comes. Not slowly, all of a sudden. It's like a dam that holds everything in and then lets go all at once. I need to let you know right now that your containment protocol is almost over. Not because I know the day and time. The date escapes me. The person who tells you the exact date is not telling you the truth. The pattern is what I know. This pattern has been seen a huge number of times. Also, the signs that show up at the end of a containment protocol, the restlessness, the increased sensitivity, and the sense that something is right behind the wall, are not random. Those are signs that the construction is done. This is where the instruction about your mouth is very important. Since the last part of the containment protocol is the most dangerous. Almost all of the foundation is done. The building is almost done, but it hasn't been sealed yet. And in this small window between almost ready and fully ready, the biggest danger is making an announcement before it's time. God is not mad and telling you to be quiet. He is telling you not to talk, because the trust He has built in you over the months and years of silence could be broken with just one word. It only takes one phone call, text message, or moment to want approval from someone who can't see what God sees. There is someone listening right now who has already talked, told someone, or opened their mouth and felt the energy leave the room. That person needs to be heard. And you're sitting here right now, feeling bad and wondering if you messed it up. You didn't mess it up. God does not work on something for months, and then destroy it with a single word. But you messed up the timeline. Right now, He wants you to calm down, reseal, and be quiet again so that the last layer of the foundation can cure in peace. The window is smaller now, but it's still not over. That's why it's so important. The third thing going on in your life right now is the announcement drain, which explains why things lose power. God went quiet because of the containment protocol, but it doesn't explain the specific kind of interference you've been getting from people who are supposed to be on your side. I want you to think about the last time you told someone you trusted something holy, like a dream, a plan, or a message from God. And I want you to focus on what they looked like when you told them, not what they said. What did they mean by what they said? This is what I call proximity contamination. A chosen person shares a God-given instruction with someone who is close enough to affect their emotions but not spiritually mature enough to handle what they heard. This is called proximity contamination. It's not that they're bad people. They don't want you to fail. The problem is that what God gave you doesn't work for them right now. And the higher reality always falls when those two realities meet in the same conversation. This is why your mom can love you very much and still make you lose your sight with just one word. This is why your best friend can really be there for you, but still plant a doubt that will take weeks to pull out. People who are close to you are often the most dangerous for what God has put inside you because of this. Not because they are enemies, but because being close to each other without being aligned makes things dirty. You have been through this. You understand exactly what I mean. You told someone what God told you, and you could feel the shift before you closed your mouth. The power changed. There was more weight in the room. And you left with their doubts along with your own. Their fear turned into yours. Their limits became the limits of what you could imagine. That's the contamination from being close. And being quiet is the only way to heal. Not a permanent lack of sound, but planned silence. It's on hold until the building is ready. You keep it until the base is sealed. You keep it until the thing God gave you is strong enough to stand up to what other people say. Then you speak. Not to make an announcement, but to show what has already been built. Right, God told me to hold it. In the comments if this hits home for you right now, because what I just said is not theory. This is the exact thing that has been making your spiritual duties harder for years. Its power over your life will end as soon as you name it. Before we go any further, I want to bring up something important. Everything I have said so far, the announcement drain, the containment protocol, and the proximity contamination, all lead to the same deeper truth. Someone has hacked into a part of your internal operating system. Not because of sin or disobedience, but because of a slow loss of strength that all people experience as they grow up and enter the modern world. Research labs have found something new in the last few years that most people who care about the things we've been talking about have never heard of. Not because it goes against what is holy, but because most of us aren't paying attention to it. A group of neuroscientists, led by a doctor in New York, who has studied this for 20 years, have found something about how the brain is built that explains why the chosen one feels like they can't receive anything. Something so basic that it goes back to a Nobel Prize, but it's used in such a simple way that it sounds almost fishy at first. After this message, I'll tell you what they found, but hold on to this question for now. What if the gap between what God spoke over your life and what you were able to receive has nothing to do with your spirituality? What if it's a neurological problem with a clear way to fix it? We're going to talk more about this now, because what I'm about to show you is the fourth mechanism that ties everything together. It not only tells you why you speak too soon, but also why the urge to speak too soon is so strong that it gets in the way of your spiritual discernment. Do you ever notice that the urge to tell everyone what God gave you doesn't feel like a choice? It doesn't seem like you're choosing to tell someone. It feels like pressure, like you need to let go of something inside you, and like holding on to the information is making you feel bad. And you saw that pressure as joy, thanks, and the natural desire to tell the people you care about good news. That's not what it is though. You are actually experiencing a neurological compulsion that is caused by a disconnect in your brain between the left and right sides. The brain was made so that both hemispheres can work together to process complicated, multi-layered information. If the left and right aren't connected, the brain can't store that information. In order to process it, it sends it out through speech. Not wanting to say something is not a sign of weakness. It's your brain's way of making up for a missing internal container. When one hemisphere tries to hold what two were meant to hold, your mouth is the only way for it to let go. What this means is that the thing God wants you to hold in silence is the thing your brain can't hold at all. The strongest urge to announce comes from the most important instructions. The most unbearable pressure to speak comes from making the biggest promises. Willpower alone hasn't helped you fight this urge, but you now know that willpower isn't the right tool for a neurological problem. This is what I call the containment collapse. The moment when the brain's urge to talk to other people wins over the spirit's advice to keep quiet. It's not a sign of lack of faith. There is a problem with the hardware that faith is trying to work through. Take some time to think about this. Every time God gave you a promise, you told someone right away. Every time you had an idea, you wrote about it before the ink was dry. Every time you felt the Spirit move, you talked about it instead of letting it sink into your bones. That wasn't being weak. That was not being immature. That was a brain that wasn't connected to both of its intended halves. So it couldn't hold what it was getting, because the container itself was broken. The containment collapse explains why some people can keep secrets easily, while you have a hard time. That's why some people can have a vision for years, while you feel like you're going to burst after just 3 days. It's not character. It's about space. And capacity can be brought back to the level where the issue is. That's the big step forward. You were never weak. The container was never put together correctly. And everything God has done this season, the rules for containment, the silence, the pressing, and telling people to shut up, has been to protect the content, while the container catches up. Type, I am being restored in the comments right now, if you feel the weight of that landing, or if something inside you just went quiet in a way that makes you feel better. This is more than just understanding. This is the start of a deeper change in you than just getting information. I want to talk to you directly right now, not in broad terms or generalities, but to the person who is listening right now. You've been carrying a heavy load, and not just emotionally as well. There is a small part of your mind that has been working at full capacity. And you have been making up for it with hard work, discipline, and sheer willpower. And it's been long and hard. This is not the kind of tiredness that goes away when you sleep. This is the kind that stays behind your eyes, even after 8 hours of rest. Now, you know something you didn't know when this message started. The space you feel between who you are and who you were meant to be is not spiritual divide. The distance is in the brain. There is not a difference between the announcement drain, the containment protocol, the proximity contamination, and the containment collapse. All four of these things point to the same cause. Your two hemispheres of the brain were made to work together perfectly. They're not. I told you all of this, and saved it for this very moment in the message, because a solution is only useful when you fully understand the problem it solves. You now know what the shape is. That's what you've been. That's not the person you have to stay with. You really did get clarity, but clarity by itself is not movement. The question is not whether you understand or not. And that's what you can use when the container is finally fixed. You are the chosen one, because you have been honest for years, done the work inside yourself, and clearly heard the call. Even when nothing else around you confirmed it. And today, what I'm going to talk about is just for that person. In a research lab in 1981, an important discovery was made that would win the Nobel Prize. Neuroscientist Roger Sperry proved that the brain has two halves, or hemispheres, the left and the right. When these two halves of the brain work together, the brain is said to be whole brain activated. Being in this state makes you more creative, intuitive, able to solve problems, emotionally stable, and spiritually open than most adults have ever been. 98% of kids naturally work in this synchronized state. For them, it's the norm. Not even 1 in 1,000 adults keep it up. There is no intention for the modern world to disconnect you, but the way you have been raised, with all the overstimulation, noise, stress, and pressure to perform, slowly breaks down the connection between the two halves, until they work almost independently. An American woman wrote about how she felt before she found what I'm about to share. She had tried every method her community suggested, such as prayer, writing in a journal, meditation, and more. She talked about telling a prayer partner about something God had given her, and feeling the power leave the room, right then and there. She thought she was being true to him. She had a leak. The need to externalize stopped after 10 days of restoring synchronization. She finally felt something close up inside her for the first time. A channel that was too open in the wrong direction was now closed off in the right direction, but still open. A man from Texas talked about something he had never shared with anyone else. The 3 years of silence and confinement he had been under were meant to protect something. He kept trying to speak into being before it was ready to stand. The thing lost its charge every time he told someone. He talked about the first time in years that he got something from God within 2 weeks of starting the synchronization process. The urge to tell someone right away did not come. The box was big enough to hold it. That's because of what the group I'm about to talk about worked on for years. Neuroscientists in New York, led by Dr. Daniel Barone, did the following for years. They turned more than an hour of clinical neural sync technology, the kind of whole brain activation protocol used in specialized medical settings, into an 8-minute targeted auditory sequence by compressing and fine-tuning it a lot. 8 minutes every day, with headphones on and eyes closed. There you have it, the only physical requirement. The smart switch is what they call it. The genius switch isn't an app for meditation or a sound that can change your mood. Based on Dr. Roger Sperry's Nobel Prize-winning research, this is a specific sequence of sounds that were designed to connect the two hemispheres and bring back the normal state of brain activity that kids had when they were young. It is not adding anything new. It gives back something that was taken. The moment you've been waiting for to seal things. When what God gave you stops feeling like something you have to say, and starts to feel like something you own. This minute sequence moves you toward that moment, not by using your willpower, but by fixing the place inside you that was meant to hold what God gives you. Not everyone can use the genius switch. It is for the chosen one who knows that God not only made the promise, but also the mind that needs to follow it. The person who has been honest for years, done the work, heard the call clearly, and kept coming back to it even when the evidence wasn't there. This person is ready to stop seeing the fog as a flaw in their character, and start seeing it as something with a specific address. When Dr. Barron's co-workers saw what the technology could do for the first time, they thought it would be a great deal even at $500. A neurofeedback machine that you use in person costs $7,000. It costs $300 an hour to see a specialist for one time. The Genius Switch didn't come out for $500, $200, or $100. It cost $49 when it came out. And today, on the page I'm about to show you, there is an extra $39 off. You get 4 free bonuses when you pay $39 too. A top-rated Calm app creator made this guided visualization to help you get clear on money, love, health, and happiness. A smart grocery shopping guide that tells you which 10 common foods make you feel foggy, and helps you save more than $100 a month. The classic manifestation book is over 100 years old, and is worth $20 by itself. It comes with a beautifully designed 5 habits infographic that you can print out and put somewhere you'll see it every day. This comes with a 100% money-back guarantee that covers everything. Listen 80 times. It will get every dollar back if it doesn't do what it has done for over 18,000 people. There are no rules or questions. One thing that stands out: you can find tracks that sound like this if you search YouTube or Spotify for them. The people who worked on this studied them. Most of them didn't have any neural sync technology built in at all. They used the name because there isn't much that stops you from calling something that. How it works is what makes the difference, and this team's work is the only way it works. The only source that has been checked is the direct page. You can find the link in the description below, and in the pinned comment. They both lead to the place where Dr. Barone and his team made it available, not somewhere else. Before you decide, you can read everything on their page. It's easy to see every detail. The tool doesn't stand in for God. The tool doesn't take the place of obedience. It doesn't give up for you. The door doesn't close itself. You don't need any tools for what God is doing in you. But a tool that heals the receiver makes what God is doing land in the right place more often. And for the chosen one who felt something move when the mind was talked about, that door is still open in the telling. It's only one step. But taking small steps with a clear head has changed the whole season. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke, it is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description, or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself, Jesus says. This is not history, it is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. Let's go back to the main point of what God is telling you right now. Because telling someone to shut up isn't just a safety measure, it's also a way to get ready. Let me show you what it looks like. One morning in 6 months, you wake up before the alarm. It's not because you're scared, but because you're ready. It's not a thought that you notice first. There is a lack. There's a weight on your chest that's been there for years, and you've stopped calling it anxiety, because you heard it so often. It's gone. Not controlled or pushed down, just gone. After lying there for a moment, the first thing that comes to mind is not a worry, a plan, or a defense. It's a question. What does God have planned for me today? And the question isn't made out of desperation. It's made out of expectation from someone who has been getting it clearly and consistently for months. From someone whose receiver is online all the time. That version of you already exists, not in a faraway universe or a fantasy, but right now. On the path you are on, if you follow the instructions you are being given today. Here's what God wants you to know about the people around you. People who don't know what your silence means will take it as a sign of distance. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you're moving away. Some people will understand things in the wrong way. But you can't correct them yet. Because if you try to explain why you have been quiet, you will be opening the very box God told you to close. Right now, they don't need to understand. They'll get it in the end. When the thing that was built in silence can be seen. Being quiet is not mean. It's obedience, and being obedient to God during a time when everyone wants to know why is one of the most spiritually mature things a chosen one can show. If you know what I'm talking about, and have already felt the pressure from people who want you to explain a silence you can't yet explain, type "seal holds" in the comments right now. You are not the only one going through this. I need to talk to you about something right now. Because I know that part of you is having doubts. Don't doubt God, doubt yourself. Something inside you has been saying things like, what if I'm making this up? What if the silence is just me being stuck? What if I'm calling it obedience when it's really just fear? That's a good question. And the fact that you're asking it tells me more about you than any answer could. Someone who is really stuck doesn't question being stuck. They make it normal. They no longer notice it. Some people look at something, ask themselves, is this real or am I deceiving myself? And then they move on. That person is not stuck. That person is getting ready. This is how you can tell the difference. If the silence is caused by fear, it will make you feel like you are getting smaller, and the world is closing in on you. When you're forced to be quiet out of obedience, it will feel like something inside you is being pressed into a denser, more concentrated shape. Shrinking makes you smaller. When you compress, you get ready to expand. In what way do you feel? Be honest. Because if you feel like something inside you is being pressed, concentrated, and made better, then you are right where God wants you to be. The pain is not a sign that something is wrong. The pain is a sign that construction is underway. I'm going to tell you a short story that will stay with you forever. In the Bible, there was a man whose life was defined by one thing above all else. He could hold what God gave him in silence for years. He was named Joseph, and he made a mistake as soon as God showed him the dream in which the sheaves bowed, and the sun, moon, and stars lined up to honor what he carried. He wrote to his brothers. He was 17 years old when he told. It cost him everything. Not because the dream was wrong, but because the box wasn't ready yet. The brothers didn't have the spiritual strength to hold what Joseph carried, and because they couldn't, they became hostile. The dream came true, the news came too soon. And Joseph had to spend the next 13 years in prisons and pits learning the one thing God wanted him to know before the dream could come true. Keep quiet. Joseph was not the same person when he stood in front of Pharaoh. Not because the dream had changed, but because he knew how to hold it without moving. He knew that carrying a God-given vision is what makes it powerful, not telling it. And the carrying is what gives you the character your dream needs. Right now is your Joseph season. The dream is real, the vision is correct. The promise is still good, but what hurt it was the telling. And this season of silence has been about healing, putting back together what was broken by the early announcement. Not punishment, but healing. Not giving up but getting ready. Now I want to give you something useful. This is the sacred containment practice that I use at my home. There are 3 steps to following divine instructions in silence, until they are fully formed. Step 1. Figure out where your containment can be broken. These are the precise individuals, situations, and emotional states that make you want to speak too soon. Not everyone is one of the chosen few. There are 1 or 2 of them. The person you text when you feel like being alone, and call when you're happy. Figure them out. Not to cut them off, but to put up a temporary wall around the holy thing God gave you. Step 2. Make a ritual to redirect. When you feel the need to talk, which you will, turn that energy somewhere else. Don't try to hide it. Change its path. You should write it in a journal that only you will see. Instead of calling someone, say it to God in prayer. The power has to go somewhere. Cover it with something that won't leak. The 3rd step sounds the strangest, but it is the most important of all. Set the time for your seal. Pick an internal signal that lets you know the containment phase is over. It wasn't a date on the calendar, it was a feeling. It stops feeling like pressure to talk about it, and starts to feel like authority. When you say something not out of excitement, but because you own it. When you're not telling someone about a dream, but about a fact. That's the moment of truth. When that happens, your mouth will open. Not before. Close your eyes for a second. Do something for me. Focus on the middle of your chest, not your thoughts. Feel everything that's there. Feelings of weight, warmth, tightness, and movement. Don't judge it. Don't call it anything. Just pay attention to it. Now, I want you to picture the thing God has been working on in you, the thing that has been being formed in the silence, as a small, bright, dense sphere of light sitting behind your sternum. It has months of growth there. There was more to it after each day of silence. It got denser, brighter, and stronger every time you chose not to speak. Now picture sealing it. Imagine a door softly closing around it. This isn't to lock it up forever, but to keep it safe while the last layer hardens. Not forever is the seal in place. We need it right now, but it's only temporary. Feel the relief as the door shuts. It's no longer necessary to announce. Since the thing is safe, the urge goes away, it takes place. Making progress on it. It's your job to keep it safe. When you're ready, open your eyes. You now own that picture. When the pressure builds, go back to it. I want to speak something over your life right now, chosen one. I want you to take it in not as words, but as a statement that has power in both the spiritual and natural worlds. I'm saying that the leaky season is over. The time for making early announcements is over. Today is the last day of the season of giving holy things to places that aren't ready for them. You can end it on your own. Not because you're strong enough, but because God has shown you how. He showed you how to use the speaker drain. He showed you how to use containment. He showed you the nearby contamination. He showed you how the containment broke down. And you can't take back what you've seen. I say that the container is going to be sealed. That the base is getting stronger. That God has been building something in the silence, and it's almost done. And that when it's ready, when the sealed moment comes, what comes out of the silence will be so clear, so strong, so rooted that the opinions of everyone who doubted the silence will no longer matter. I promise that your mouth is not against you. What you say is what you believe. When the chosen person learns when to close it, they will also learn how powerful what it can open is. Over your mind, I say that the fog is lifting, that the receiver is being fixed up, that you are getting better at holding what God gives you, and that every divine instruction that comes from now on will be met by a space that is ready to hold it fully. I swear that the people who got the wrong idea from your silence will one day be able to see what it meant and understand. They knew it because they saw it, not because you told them. And there was no doubt about what they saw. I'm announcing that the containment protocol is over, that the construction signals are real, that your restlessness isn't anxiety, but excitement, and that what's about to break through the wall of silence will be better than any future you tried to predict too soon. It is true that the same God who told you to keep quiet will also tell you when to speak up. When He does, your voice will carry the weight of everything that was built in the quiet. Because of the year of waiting, the month of holding, and the day of choosing obedience over explanation, everything built up and came out at once in a season that makes everyone understand why the silence was needed. You're not behind. You have a lot. We haven't forgotten about you. Someone is aiming at you. You're not quiet because you don't have anything to say. What you have to say is so strong that it has to be said all the way or not at all. That's why you're quiet. The seal is still in place, the container is safe, and the God who started this work will finish it on His time, not yours. He has always been on time, never being late. Type, "I am sealed and sent," in the comments if this is your claim, if this is the truth you want to live by today. As a covenant, not as a way to participate. Because the chosen one who speaks out about what God has said in silence is the chosen one who fully enters what God has planned. That's how it is. One last thing I want you to do before you leave. Think of someone who has been quiet for a while, but knows deep down that they need to say something. Send this message to someone who has been wondering if the lack of noise means they have been forgotten. No, I didn't ask you to. You know how it feels to carry something with you in silence, until someone finally says what you needed to hear. If you're new here, and this message came at just the right time for you, please click the like button so it reaches someone else who is feeling the same way. And if your spirit tells you that this is where you belong, join the thousands of other chosen ones who read these messages over and over again as part of their spiritual practice. Not for fun, but to get things in order. The silence doesn't mean that God isn't there. The silence is God working on the most important things. And the person God chooses to hold the silence will get what the silence built. Have a nice trip. Hold on to what you've been given, and when the time to seal comes, speak with the full authority of everything that was made in the quiet. It's locked up. Before we get to the end of this powerful story, let's reflect on this deep truth. You did not find this message by accident. This is a divine appointment meant specifically for you. You are being invited into a protected, faith-filled community at the link in the description and pinned comment, a place where divine abundance is not just a hope, but a promise built on the Word. By heading to the site right now, you are unlocking access to a sacred community of like-minded believers. When you join our membership tiers, you gain immediate entry to powerful content, daily devotions, and divine insights that are hidden from the world. This is your chance to enter a sanctuary, where you will receive spiritual guidance, unwavering support on our prayer wall, and speedy progress toward your destiny. Do not let this moment of destiny pass you by. Your breakthrough is waiting. Join our inner circle through the exclusive link in the description. This is how you guarantee you never miss the personalized messages and spiritual warfare tools meant to elevate your life. If you feel called to deepen your connection, the link is waiting for you in both the pinned comment and the description. For those who want to amplify this work and carry the light home, you can find our guided ebooks and Bibles in the pinned comment. Whether you join as a member or sow a seed through our resources, your presence and energy change the world. Take the step. Your abundance awaits. You are about to enter your divine future. But remember, this breakthrough is not for you alone. Your testimony is the bridge someone else will use to reach their own miracle. Archangel Michael is inviting you to visit community through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. By joining our like-minded community, you are no longer praying in isolation. You are adding your voice to a global sanctuary where we discuss the Word daily and stand in the gap for one another. This is not poetry when Jesus says, "Give, and heaven will open over you." On this platform, every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and a hedge of safety for your family. Now is your time. Step into our community prayer wall, share your heart, and as you give, watch God multiply what you let go of. Let's finish this journey together. Visit our community now, join the family, and see your heavens open.